Hello students, welcome to my channel. We are already done with the intro to digestive system. Please watch out that once and then come to this video if you haven't watched that yet. In this video we will talk about pH and what is its importance in digestion. Remember that whenever you have to write pH, P has to be small and H has to be capital because this is a way to write pH. And it is a measure of acidity or basicity, right? So in simple words we can say acidic pH or basic pH. Now what is this pH actually? Now whenever we write water, we know that the chemical formula of water is H2O. When water gets split up into its ions, it is written as H plus ion or OH ions. Now, whenever the pH of any solution or pH of any place, it is acidic, it means that it is acidic when H ions are more, and it should be basic if OH ions are more, right? So pH value, it ranges from 1 to 14 and there are three categories of pH. It could be acidic, it could be neutral or it could be basic, right? pH could be acidic, neutral or basic. As I said that pH scale ranges from 1 to 14. Now what does this scale means? Means the value of pH lies from 1 to 14. We are writing this in serial number so that it should be clear to you. So here on this scale I am just mentioning the values from 1 to 14. Okay, now see here the pH value of 7. Here the 7 value signifies the neutral pH. Neutral pH means the number of H ions are equal to OH ions, right? But if the value of the pH is lower than 7, that means we are moving along the yellow arrow, that means the pH is going to be acidic. In case of acidic, H ions will be more than OH ions. However, if we move along the other side, that is this pink arrow, that means 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. If this is the pH, that means it is basic. Basic means OH ions are more than H plus ions. So pH scale ranges from 1 to 14. It gives you a measure whether H ions are more or OH ions are more. Now suppose if two values are given to you, 5 and 1, they ask you a question. Which one is weak acid and which one is strong acid? Then to solve such type of questions also, this is one of the question of your chemistry chapter. So to find out whether it is a strong acid or a weak acid, we need to relate the values. One value is 5 and one is 1. Now which value is closer to 7? Of course, 5 is closer to 7. So the more the value, the closer to the neutral pH or the 7 value, the weaker it would be. That means 5 turns out to be as the weaker acid, whereas 1 is further from the neutral value. Thus, it would act as a strong acid. So, as it applies to basic concepts, suppose you are being given 12 and 14. Now 12 value is more closer to the neutral value. So it will serve as a weak base, whereas 14 will turn out to be a strong base. When I say weak and strong, base. It means weak base will have less number of OH ions, whereas a strong base will have more number of OH ions. So as applies to weaker acid and a stronger acid, weaker acid will have less number of H ions, whereas strong acid will have more number of H ions. Now we have already discussed what is pH, what is its scale. Now what is the role of pH in digestion? You know, we have seen in the previous video that we put the food in mouth, then it goes in the food pipe, then from food pipe it goes to the stomach, then small intestine, and then the large intestine. Remember, at each place the amount of H ion concentration and OH ion concentration is very much important. If that H and OH ion concentration is disturbed, food digestion is not going to happen in a smoother way, right? For example, it is almost close to neutral or a slightly acidic in mouth, means the pH is somewhat between 6 to 7 in the case of mouth. But if you talk about stomach, the pH is strongly acidic. That means it is somewhere between 1 to 3. In small intestine, the pH is basic. If the pH is not going to be basic, the digestion is not going to happen. That means it is more than 7 here in the case of small intestine. So at each place, we require a specific concentration of H ion and OH ion that will define the acidity and the basicity, and that will help in the digestion process. Now, as we will talk about role of mouth in the digestion, the things will become clearer to you with each step. I hope you have understood the concept of pH. Now, another question for this concept is, what is acidic pH and what is basic pH? Right? Give the values. You can just give the answer to acidic pH and basic pH by writing their values. You don't have to write an answer in a language form. So if the pH is going to be acidic, what should be the value? If the pH is going to be basic, what should be the value? You can write your answers in the comment section. I'll check whether it is right or wrong. Definitely in case of wrong answers, I will be reverting and your names will be taken in the upcoming videos. I hope you have understood the concept of pH. Do consider subscribing and sharing with your friends so that each one of you can avail the benefit. See you in next video with the role of mouth, saliva in the digestion. So we are going to start digestion, how it occurs in the human beings. Happy learning.